somewhere beneath the streets of Berlin, 6 meters underground. A man sat alone in a concrete room. Outside, the city was burning. Soviet shells fell every few minutes. 3 million soldiers were closing in. The war was over. Everyone knew it. Everyone. Except him. This is the story of the last 11 days of Adolf Hitler. What happened inside that bunker has never been fully told. The paranoia, the betrayal, the complete collapse of a mind. And on April 30th, 1945, how it all ended. To understand what happened in the bunker, you need to understand what was happening above it. By April 1945, Nazi Germany was a country being erased from the map in real time. From the west, American and British forces had crossed the Rhine. From the east, Stalin's Red Army, battle-hardened after 4 years of the most brutal war in human history, was advancing on Berlin itself. Hitler had refused every offer to retreat. Every general who suggested withdrawal was accused of cowardice or executed. His inner circle was fracturing. His armies were ghosts. His empire was ash. And yet, on April 20th, 1945, Hitler's 56th birthday, he emerged from the bunker for the last time. He stood in the Reich Chancellery garden, trembling, barely able to raise his arm. He pinched the cheeks of teenage boys, children, who had been handed rifles and told to stop the Red Army. This would be the last time Adolf Hitler ever saw daylight. He went back underground, and he never came back up. The Führerbunker was not built for comfort. It was built to survive. 30 rooms, concrete walls 3 meters thick, no windows, no natural light. The air tasted of diesel and fear. Hitler lived and worked in a small suite of rooms, a bedroom, a study, a map room. He slept during the day and held military briefings at night, sometimes until 4 or 5 in the morning. Those who attended described a man completely disconnected from reality. He moved phantom armies across maps, divisions that had been destroyed weeks ago, generals who were already dead or captured. When his staff tried to correct him, he exploded into rage. When they agreed with him, he seemed briefly calm, and then descended again. The people in the bunker around him, a small group remained. Eva Braun, his companion of many years, had arrived voluntarily. Everyone told her to leave Berlin. She refused. Joseph Goebbels, his minister of propaganda, had also come with his wife Magda and their 6 children. He refused to live in a Germany without Hitler. Martin Bormann, Hitler's secretary and shadow, never left his side. And the generals, pale, exhausted, terrified of the man they served. April 22nd, the breaking point. For 2 days after his birthday, Hitler clung to hope. He believed that SS General Felix Steiner would lead a counterattack and break the Soviet encirclement of Berlin. On April 22nd, he was told the truth. Steiner's attack had never happened. There weren't enough troops. The order was impossible to carry out. What followed was one of the most frightening scenes ever described in that bunker. Hitler stood up. He screamed for over an hour. He declared the war lost. He said he had been betrayed by everyone. His generals, his officers, the German people themselves. He said he would stay in Berlin. He would die there. And he meant it. In those final days, Hitler's paranoia consumed everything. He trusted no one. And one by one, the men he had trusted most betrayed him. Hermann Göring. On April 23rd, Hermann Göring, once named Hitler's official successor, sent a telegram from Bavaria. He asked Hitler's permission to assume leadership of the Reich since Hitler was trapped in Berlin. He framed it carefully, respectfully, almost apologetically. Hitler saw it as treason. He stripped Göring of all his titles, had him arrested, and ordered his execution, an order that was never carried out. The man who had been second in the Reich was done. Heinrich Himmler. 2 days later, the betrayal that hit Hitler hardest. Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, the architect of the Holocaust, perhaps the most feared man in Nazi Germany, had been secretly negotiating with the Allies. He believed Hitler was finished. He hoped to save himself, and perhaps Germany, by brokering a separate peace with the West. When Hitler found out, witnesses described something worse than rage. It was a cold, quiet devastation. He said, "The most loyal man I had, and he has betrayed me." Himmler was expelled from the Nazi Party and stripped of all powers. Hitler was now truly alone. By April 28th, Soviet forces were less than a mile from the bunker. The sound of artillery was constant. The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Hitler began to set his affairs in order. The wedding. In the early hours of April 29th, Adolf Hitler married Eva Braun. It was a small ceremony in the bunker's conference room. Eva wore a black silk dress. Hitler wore his military uniform. A city official was brought in to perform the ceremony. Both signed the documents. Eva Braun became Eva Hitler. She was 33 years old. She had known for days that she would not leave the bunker alive. She is reported to have been radiant. The last testament after the wedding, Hitler dictated his last will and political testament. It was a document remarkable for what it didn't contain. No remorse. No acknowledgement of the destruction he had caused. Instead, blame. Blame for the Jews. Blame for his generals. Blame for the world that had forced his hand. He named Admiral Karl Dönitz as his successor. He expelled Göring and Himmler from the party, and he called on future Germans to continue the struggle. The man who had murdered tens of millions of people was, in his own mind, a victim. The cyanide test. During the night, he had cyanide capsules tested on his dog, Blondie. He needed to know the poison was genuine. He feared being given fake capsules by those who wanted him captured alive. The dog died. Hitler reportedly didn't react. He went to bed. The morning of April 30th was quiet inside the bunker. Hitler had a late breakfast. He said goodbye to his staff. A long, slow handshake with each person. Those who witnessed it said his eyes were empty. At around 2:30 in the afternoon, Adolf Hitler and Eva Hitler retired to his private study. The door closed. Staff in the corridor heard a single gunshot. When they entered the room, they found both bodies on the sofa. Eva had taken cyanide. Hitler had shot himself in the head. Following his explicit instructions, their bodies were carried to the Reich Chancellery garden above, doused in gasoline, set on fire, as Soviet shells continued to fall. Germany surrendered 1 week later, on May 8, 1945. The war in Europe was over. 60 to 80 million people were dead. Those who survived the bunker scattered. Goebbels and his wife Magda poisoned their 6 children that same night, and then killed themselves. Bormann disappeared. His fate remained a mystery for decades. Himmler was captured by British forces and killed himself with a cyanide capsule. The bunker itself was partially demolished, then buried under the New Berlin. Today, it lies beneath a parking lot. There is a small information board. Most people walk past it without stopping. History has a way of burying its darkest chapters beneath ordinary things, but they don't disappear.